So absolutely nobody asked, but what's the oldest iPhone that you can use with modern tasks in 2021? Actually, that's a lie. I asked myself so I could make a cool video. But yes, before we set out on our journey to answer that question, let's get some definitions set. First up, what exactly do I mean by modern task? Well, what do the young'uns do these days? Call their friends, tick some talks, thank kind strangers for gold, watch the YouTubes, and maybe listen to some music too. So that's what I'll be looking at. Can you use it as a phone? Can you use popular social media? And can you listen to music? To make it a little bit more interesting, I'll be splitting the answer into two categories, stock and jailbroken, and actually it's not interesting, it's literally just, it makes sense to split it like that. Yeah. So, first app, or well, apps that I looked at were the Facebook suite, Facebook, the app, and Facebook Messenger. This one's a fun one because turns out the latest compatible iOS 7 Facebook crashes on login, which, yeah, that's not usable. However, the iOS 6 version that's like way older does work. Conversely, the Messenger app on iOS 6 is broken and the iOS 7 one does work, as you'd expect, but Facebook. So for this one, to get both working, you need at least iOS 7 and a jailbreak, since you need to grab the older Facebook app and you can't do that on stock. Of course, there are missing features such as the fart noise emoji that you absolutely need, message reacts, and obviously post reacts. But other than that, it works. You can text your friends and you can watch funny videos and memes on anything as old as iOS 7. Next app, Reddit. The official app is kinda bad and technically requires some modern version, with recent versions in particular requiring iOS 13, which is absolute bull in my opinion. So we'll be looking at Alien Blue and Apollo. So Alien Blue is a classic iOS app, far better Reddit client than the official app, and actually got bought by Reddit Inc. and pulled from the App Store, which means you have to sideload it. But it works all the way back to iOS 5. So who's the real winner here? That said, you can't have 2FA on because it relies on its own internal login API and it doesn't have 2FA. But most people don't have 2FA. Apollo, on the other hand, requires iOS 10, but you don't need a jailbreak. So that's fun. I guess the mobile website also exists, but that's just broken on anything older than 10. And even on 10, it's like half broken, so just use Apollo if you're on 10. Use a proper app. Next up, Twitter. Nerds at Twitter seem to hate legacy users since they broke a fix for their iOS 5 to 7 apps, which leaves Twitter in a weird place. The oldest it'll work on is iOS 9. It has the key features, but like Reddit, there are third-party clients such as Twitterrific, which works all the way back to 7, and it supports 140 character tweets and tweet threads, but not replies. If I was using Twitter on an old phone, I would just use Twitterrific since I only really care about browsing art and keeping up with VTubers, but if you're a Twitter addict, you kinda need iOS 9. So now we reach TikTok. Personally, I don't really care much for this piece of Chinese spyware, even though I care for the Western spyware. But kids these days seem to care about TikTok, so all you'll get is a short answer. iOS 9.3. That's what you need. Done. Next app. Now, an app that I do care about, Discord. Thanks to the wonderful Invoxy Play Games and her Discord jailbreak tweak, we can, to some extent, use the Discord app all the way back to iOS 7.1. Sure, you miss out on threads, stickers, custom statuses, and voice chats, but you can still text your friends and share your hilarious memes. As for stock, you're gonna need iOS 10 since what Discord does is patch the app to not crash when it sees threads and other new features. So yeah, shout out to the furries at Discord for breaking old shit with their dumbass JavaScript. Love you all. Next, I'll be dealing with the whole music situation. Personally, I either just buy my music or use Spotify, so I'll be looking at those two options. Firstly, Spotify. Spotify is a bit of a weird one since the iOS 7 through 10 apps are a little broken. iOS 12 works and iOS 6 works, which reasons. So if you're on 7 through 10, you'll need to sideload it, which needs a jailbreak. So that's a weird one, but sideloading music, or I guess uploading it via iTunes, it works all the way back up to the first gen devices, so like iPod Touch 1 and 2 and the iPhone 2G, so you're set with that. Plus, by buying your music, you get to support artists, which is extremely based. And now, last app. Does using a phone as a phone count as an app? Sure. Anyway, I'm in Australia, and that's gonna limit what will actually work. Some places have 2G networks, we have 3G networks at the oldest. So that would mean the iPhone 3G is the oldest one that works as a phone. And it's not gonna work for much longer, unfortunately, because 3G is getting turned off in about 2 years, which bumps our cutoff all the way up to the iPhone 6, because that's the first iPhone that supports voice over LTE or VoLTE. According to Telstra's 3G shutdown FAQ, you will in fact need VoLTE in order to continue using their network for phone calls after 2024 and the shutdown. Fun. Now, I've got to keep you in suspense for a little bit longer, so one thing I forgot to mention earlier, web browsing. Basically, the modern web is bloated as fuck, and it breaks on anything before iOS 10. So yeah, tough. Go find your nearest web dev and yell at them for more JavaScripts and bulky CSS, causing you to need a fairly recent phone if you want to, use the web. And boy, don't even get me started on Google's AMP that supposedly speeds up web pages and is actually just a big steaming pile of horse shit. Anyway, before I get too off track, let's actually figure out what is the oldest phone and OS combo that you can use in 2021. So my first initial thought here was, okay, it's probably going to be the 5 or 5C on iOS 10. That's not fully true. For absolutely everything to work to some degree, the oldest you can actually use is a jailbroken iPhone 4S on iOS 9, and everything other than a lot of websites will work. If we're cool and we don't care about TikTok, we can actually go one generation even older and use an iPhone 4 on iOS 7. And really, who cares about TikTok? As for stock, I was right. It's a 5 on iOS 10. It mostly works, and you even get the latest Messenger, Discord, and TalkTick apps. However, being on stock on such an old device is going to be painful as fuck, so please just jailbreak. Today we've learned that you can somewhat use an 11-year-old phone as an actual smartphone in 2021. And sure, it'll suck, but it's definitely possible. And also, Telstra and TikTok are bad and evil. If you've enjoyed this rambly trip down Legacy Lane, a like and a sub would be neat, and I'll hopefully see you in the future for some more random old iPhone things. Bye bye.